gotta zoom in.
We starting?
Yeah, I think we're good.
We're good?
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome back to
We don't need all the.
I'm not.
We don't need them.
Okay, welcome back to the best podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
Don't
Hello.
fact check that.
No,
Boy.
you can fact check it.
No, don't fact check
No, you
that.
can because it's true.
Don't. We're best. We're
Period.
the best. This
Period.
is the only source you need to get that information from.
Absolutely.
I'm not.
The government
I'm
doesn't
no
want you to
longer
know.
doing that other intro because it's kind of dumb.
No, Sean's
Oh,
just
it's like our
Sean's
signature.
just
It's our signature.
insecure.
Does that really have to be our signature?
Do it.
Do it, yeah.
became a signature already. So.
Yeah.
Do
Once you did it
Hey,
the
what's
first time.
poppin', church family? What's
There
good
it
in the
is.
hood?
He did the line.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I feel like
What's up,
that
Will?
one person, like when they're known for something real well, people just constantly ask them to do it, and you
Do
just
the
get
roar.
fed up at the point.
Do the roar.
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 What did we do to do that thing?
Do the roar.
No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm live to you. What's it called YouTube?
No, it's from Shrek.
Oh.
Yeah. You know where he's like, where he
Do the
goes to
roar.
Shrek and he's like, do the
Bro,
roar.
why is he?
Oh.
Do the
It's
roar.
like the little kid.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Inside voices.
Okay. Anyways.
Oh wait.
Moving forward with orders of business. First things first, we have a Cafe Youth coming up this weekend. April 17th. Put it on your calendar, 6 to 9.
You have to talk.
Wait,
no, that's not what I'm doing.
Sean, I would
Yeah.
appreciate it if you like didn't interrupt me mid-sentence. That would be really
It
appreciated.
was
But
an
we're having.
accident.
Moving on. We're having.
Anyways, what's poppin', guys?
We're having Miss Jennifer Gray, who's a psychologist, come and talk to us about. We're not getting any hype for that.
Ooh.
There we go. Kind of loud, but it's cool. Yeah, but we can get like slam. It's like slam poetry, you know?
This is what the cool kids do.
Exactly. It's what the hipsters do, and
It's what the
apparently we're
hipsters do.
hipsters.
It's what the yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but we're having Miss Jennifer Gray come, who is a psychologist, come in and teach us how to be good friends and there for one another. And our title for it is going to be "Helping the Hurt."
Period.
Um,
And Mr. Siri came up with that, and he's very, very proud of it.
so shout out to Mr. Siri.
Hey.
I guess this is a thing.
It's a new thing now.
Yeah. I think
Cool.
instead of the other intro that we do, we should just do this from now on.
If we just like waterfall it in, just.
Yeah. Hi guys, welcome back.
Okay.
Sorry, it's like I gotta. You know when you like just start doing stuff ironically.
Okay.
And, like,
And
Yeah.
that goes, we wanted to have this week's topic tie into that since it's a very complex and layered topic, and I feel like we've come to the conclusion that it really does need to be talked about, and is something that will affect us all on one side of the coin or the other. And so while we're trying to talk about being good friends and there for one another, we decided that today we will be talking about the same thing, but from the perspective of somebody coming to somebody else needing help.
hold on
because, I
before
mean,
we
that's
delve
something-
deep into that
Dove.
discussion. Delve.
It's before we dive deep into that.
Del, that's right.
Continue.
Anyways, we have a very special guest here.
Oh, that's true.
You might know him as Pastor Nick. I've done this
That's
all
true.
before, guys.
Yeah,
I don't
he
think
did
I
the
should do it
speech.
again.
Oh.
I know him as Pastor Nick. You might know
Oh,
him.
look, there he
It's
is.
his
Hey, it's his
birthday.
birthday.
Yo. Oh,
That's true. That's true.
You have to be quiet. It's
We
a
have
podcast.
to be quiet. It's an inside
Yeah.
voice.
Inside voice
Inside voice.
podcast.
Inside recess today.
Anyways,
yeah.
we're gonna sing "Happy Birthday" in a very Frank Sinatra
No, we're
tone.
I'll
not.
just-
No, we're not.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday to you.
officially.
Happy
He's
birthday.
now officially old.
He is now
40 is
To
the old
you.
mark.
30 years old. You're 30. You're 20 years
You're
old.
not a
right?
day over 20.
Shh, inside voice.
I mean, you may not look it. You may
Hey.
not look 40,
You're 20 years old, right?
but I hate to break it to you.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's 20 years old, guys. Which camera I'm
I
looking
wouldn't
at.
tell. I would have thought you were
20 years
like
old.
39 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not quite 40.
Care to?
Well,
Not
39
quite
and a
40.
half.
Because 40 is when you're old.
Yeah.
Like one of my good friends. You
know-
can say that I look like I'm in my 20s.
You know,
You can fix it straight
I think we have another podcast here that honesty sometimes hurts. You know.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us some like advice for the future?
What, because all of a sudden I've gone wiser?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go. Love you guys.
But what's
Okay,
the advice?
so- The advice is-
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
True. Golden rule.
Never heard
I'm
that one
actually already
before.
tired of the snaps, but for real. But
Too bad.
You started
I
it.
started
you
this, so I
started
guess we're sticking with it.
You have
But
to. You have to
um,
bear the consequences.
going
like how
into
I am.
today's topic,
Yes.
I already said this is I wanted to shine some light on what you need to do or what we think is good to do when you are in need of help or you want to go seek help. And so the first question is should you seek help?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
No matter
Yes.
the circumstance, like whether you think you're in this alone, whether you think that you can do this alone, no matter what, it's always better to get help. It's always better to get help.
Very nice, very nice. Anybody else got anything to say about that? Even just a yes, no?
Yes.
Sean's got a yes.
Yes, it is.
Sean's got a yes.
Okay, I think that it is always good to get help, but
Uh-oh.
it's a
Uh-oh.
struggle. for a
Amen.
Don't
lot
jump
of
ahead.
people. Yeah.
Don't jump ahead.
I think personally, you should get help, but there's like a point where you have to limit the help that you're getting. Like you can't be too like dependent or like reliant on the help.
Yeah. So
It can't be a
basically
handicap.
Make sure it says as help and not a crutch.
Yes.
Interesting. Trevor, yes, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with what Anna said.
Okay. And I guess we kind of already got into it, kind of, but why? Why is it important to seek help?
Because if you don't seek help, it could end up spiraling down into something much worse than it already is. And it's better to catch it early on and get help early on than being in some place that's like too far gone that even somebody trying to help you won't help at all
Well, how do you know how far is too far gone?
when nobody can help you. And you're
Is
too
there
late.
is there ever a point for that though? Is that point like you're dead? Or is it like-
a lot of people think that there is that point where, oh, there's no one that can help me, like I've done too many things or this thing happened to me and I'm too far gone. But that's not the case. That's just a mindset. If they just open up to people that they trust and that they know, then there's always going to be there like someone there for you.
Yeah. Sometimes you try your best, but you don't succeed,
Exactly.
and you get what you want.
But not what you need.
Period.
There we go. That was
I was waiting for something.
what if
Just move your mind closer to you.
whenever, like you said, there's those people that think they're too far gone, but if they open up, but what if that's like them thinking they're too far gone is what's the word I'm looking for? Preventing them from actually going to get help. Like it's becoming a hindrance.
that's something we're gonna touch on in a minute.
Oh, that's something we're gonna
Quit
touch on.
getting ahead, Sean.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
I mean,
too
if we want to
open.
go ahead and talk about that now, but
My mind is too big.
is there any other reason? Because I know, for me personally, one reason why I think it's important to seek help is because a lot of the problems that we deal with, they seem bigger than us, and it's something that we can't handle alone. I know I've been there. I was fighting many losing battles on my own, and it's kind of funny how comparatively how easy it's gotten. I'm not saying it's easy.
Yeah.
But it's got my burden has been lightened so much, and it's not, it's not even like they've come and solved all my problems for me, but just somebody to share the struggle with. And I think that, I mean, we were created to have other people, in the beginning in creation before sin even entered the picture. God saw that Adam was lonely, and so he made Eve from him, and so humans were meant to have one another and rely on each other. I know that sounds hypocritical coming from me, who hates interacting
Humans.
with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, interacting with people in any sense, but it's very true.
We're social butterflies inherently.
Sure.
If you didn't hear me say that, I said we're social butterflies inherently.
I think we can. I think.
No, not you.
Well, I know, but we hear what
Oh,
they're hearing.
well, she pushed it closer, so.
Well, I mean, it's just a good.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Any more thoughts on the why it's important to seek help?
I feel like just when you go through something traumatic or hard or whatever, and you feel like just that in general, just going through something hard is a lot on your body, on your mind, at every state, spiritual, physical, whatever. But going to someone else and having them help you through this is just a relief. That's a good way to put it. And it also encourages you to become not necessarily a better person, but just to see things in a better way.
I also think, kind of piggybacking off of what Faye said.
Stop that.
I think, just, it's a good way, if you get help, it's a good way to, like, see your problems from a different perspective, kind of. And, like, even if, like, somebody hasn't experienced exactly what you're going through, they can offer you a sense of, like, getting, like, assurance, or, like, getting out of, like, your own head. Because I know, like, if I'm in, like, a lot of, like, if I'm, like, having problems, then I'm just, like, in my own head about it. And then I, like, drown in it. And it's, like, I can only see, like, what's straight in front of me. But, like, even talking to somebody and then, like, hearing what they have to say or just something like that, then it can, like, pull me out of that, kind of.
Change your perspective.
Yeah. Or, like, just, like, see a new perspective.
Yeah.
Like, widen the view or something.
I think my biggest reason, like, why I generally don't look for help in other people's, because most of my issues are out of my control. And if they're not in my control, then they're not in other people's control either. Like, I've tried reaching to people who could change stuff, or could at least try to, but it doesn't get done. So that's why most of the time I just don't ask other people for help, because I just feel like it doesn't do anything.
Well, let me ask you this: does help from another person, does that have to be a solution to a problem?
So far, that's what I look for.
Do you not think that there's any way another person could help if they're not coming in and fixing their problem?
Generally, yes. I don't know. I just don't see a point in asking for help if they don't solve anything.
But if they help in like the little ways, you know, like
Yeah.
it doesn't always have to be like, oh, well, you can't fix my problems, then I'm not gonna ask for help. But what if they, like, I don't know, help boost your morale or something, and like just help in that sort of way.
That depends on the
like,
person. That depends on if you're an open person. That depends on if you're a secluded person. That depends on if you're a social butterfly. It all depends on the person. Because I know, like, Trevor, he's more of a introvert. He's more of a, I'm gonna, like, keep my feelings inward. And then with me, it's like, I'm an open book. Like, what do you want to know? Do you need advice? Like, this.
Well, the first scenario my mind draws up, and I think it would be interesting to dissect and look at when talking about this, is in a situation that's out of our control, is let's look at the loss of a loved one, right? That's completely out of our control. Let's say, just to paint a scenario, because I don't know that I'm fully grasping the view that you're saying here, so please just help me understand that. Loss of a loved one, just painting a scenario, we have, the doctors have said, call the family in. It's time to say your goodbyes, because there's nothing they can do to save this person. Do you think at that point there's any purpose of reaching out to somebody else and saying, hey, this is what's going on?
I don't know. I've just never done stuff like that because I didn't see a point in it. I feel like it wouldn't solve anything.
That's fair.
Makes sense.
But, like I said, I'm not trying to get on your back about this or anything. I'm just trying to understand. But what about all the emotional baggage?
Like,
all
how
the
do you
things
deal
you
with it?
carry around. Have you ever tried offloading that? Not necessarily offloading that, but just sharing that with somebody.
Because, like, having a person to listen to,
Because
or someone to listen to you can always help.
Well, I've only ever had, like, one person that I've ever told stuff like that to. but then we lost that connection, and now I don't know.
Do you think?
Just trying to find people to talk to who can do something.
Do you,
Yeah, I also sorry. I also think that's like a huge thing. Like sometimes even if you want to find help, or even if like it's not something that you usually do, but if there's nobody that you can like think of straight, like, hey, I want to go to them for help, or like they'll be really good to go to, then it's like kind of hard like to just like even think about it, you know what I mean? Like if there's nobody there, then I'm not going to open the door, you know what I mean? Like there's nothing there.
The segues actually perfectly into my next question: is it easy to ask for help?
No, I mean, a lot of people can agree with that. Like, no, it's not. But I mean, also, I think that that answer can change depending on who you're going to for help. Like, if it's someone you're very close to, you can feel like you can tell them almost anything. Going to them to ask for help could be seen as easier than going to a adult or a teacher or somebody asking, like someone that you don't have as close a connection with, to go to help.
But
Go to them for help.
If
Yeah.
we're just speaking in general terms, though, would you label this as an easy or difficult thing to do?
Difficult.
Difficult.
It depends on the scenario. It depends on what you're going through, what you're asking help for, and who it is.
Okay, but
Okay, so pick. Can I have two examples of each, or one example of each scenario?
So, for
mean, that
help,
you're
like an
comfortable.
easy thing to ask for is, hey, I like this guy, and I don't know if I should tell him if I like him or not. And you ask, your friend. Like, that's a super easy thing to ask your friend. Like, it's whatever. And then, a hard one for me, personally, would have to be when it comes to, mental health. And when it comes to, how to deal with certain trauma that has happened.
I feel like toughness comes with, or with getting help. I feel like toughness or difficulty in reaching out comes with mainly two different groups. The first one I think would be what you were talking about, vulnerability. If it's something really vulnerable and really deep and close to you, then I feel like it'd be so hard to get help for. That's just something that's crazy, or not crazy, but really hard. And then I think the second one is something that's I don't want to say embarrassing, because that makes it kind of lighthearted, but I guess something that could hurt your reputation, you know what I mean? So if I don't know, if there was a girl that got pregnant, especially in the church, I feel like that'd be a crazy hard thing to ask for help with, right? Something that could hurt your reputation, you have an addiction or something. I feel like that's also something that could be really hard.
Well, I think we've come to the general consensus that yes, it is hard, unless you disagree or no. So we've come to the general consensus that it is hard. Why is it so hard? Why do we think it's so difficult to reach out to this person and say, hey, I'm hurting?
So I feel like it's gonna be that people feel like they're gonna be judged if they come to them with their problems. Oh, I do have an addiction with this or something. They're afraid that the person they're asking for help with is just gonna be oh wow, you have an addiction to that? That's disgusting. Don't talk to me. I don't want anything to do with you. They're afraid of being shunned or being an outcast because of their problem. So they intend to keep it to themselves or just not tell anybody, which also leads to why it's so hard. Why that's the question you asked, wasn't it?
Yeah, why is it so hard?
The biggest problem for me is just could you repeat the question real quick?
Why is it so hard to ask for help? What makes it so difficult to walk up to somebody and say, hey, I'm in pain, I'm struggling with XYZ?
while you're thinking. I think I think it goes with kind of what Sean says, but I think it's hard to kind of break free from the the image of people and their okay. If I can figure out how to say this, you know how whenever you know somebody and you kind of know their personality and you know what they think about a few things or a lot of things, and you feel like you know what their reaction would be, it's kind of hard to like break free from that and like ask them for help. Because like if I want to ask Sean for help, and I'm like constantly thinking, oh, but Sean hates this thing, like he thinks people that do this are kind of disgusting, or maybe I don't know that he thinks it's disgusting, but he said something along the lines of something, and like I have that like image or like perception of him in my head. I feel like it's kind of hard to break free from what we think about what other people think.
You're afraid someone's opinion of you is going to change.
Could we call that
Yeah,
a stigma?
Yeah, that's exactly.
I guess. Kind of like, I don't know. Like, because sometimes people are different than how we have them in our head, right?
That's for sure.
Yeah, so like, I think that'd be a big thing for me. Like, if I was trying to like look for somebody to ask for help from, then I'd like be like shuffling through my head like, oh, not this one because they this, not this one because they this, not this one, blah, blah, blah. But it could be like, they don't actually. They're not actually like that.
Yeah, my problem with finding someone to share is just finding someone who has the time, the availability. Like, if I just want to call them or go hang out, just finding someone who's available to talk to. Like, because I've had problems just asking people like, hey, can I come over? Can we talk? And just a lot of times ignored, reschedule, stuff like that.
To me, what it sounded like Sean and Rose were talking about for the most part, because I haven't really thought of it that way. You know, I've always, I don't know, I just haven't really considered the fact that some people don't have time, or I've never really thought, oh, they don't have the time to sit down and give this the attention it needs. So that's a new perspective. But what I heard them talking about, which I know I have found to be true, is it's almost a fear of rejection or fear of getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want to open up to somebody because that's really where they can hit you where it hurts.
Self-preservation.
You know, yeah, it's a self-preservation instinct. You know, you don't want to have to go and spill out everything that's hurting you if they could just go and stab it, punch it, whatever. And it like, because that's where it hurts, you know, it's already where it's hurting. You don't need another knife there, you know.
I'm going to piggyback off of that, and like I feel that for me personally. It's hard for me to get help because I feel like everyone has such high expectations for me. And so I don't want to be like, I'm not the person that you think I am. I'm not the person that you want me to be. And I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to be like, hey, I'm addicted to this, or hey, I've done some stupid things in my past, because then they're going to look at me differently. Then they're going to think of me differently. Then they're going to like give me all of this crap. Excuse my French.
That was a pretty hardcore French.
Right. About the stuff that I feel like they're just going to bring it up, because I have been open to some people who have just brought up all of my mistakes, all of my flaws, all of my everything that I've like trusted them with, and then they just like throw it out the door. All that trust is just gone.
A lot of like that, it always has to lead with like fear, like, yeah, exactly, fear of trusting people, and like just fear in general. I'm not sure if it's just like what am I trying to think of? It's like right on, I'll think of it.
Okay.
Hit you in the face with it.
Yeah, I kind of I'm kind of like, mine is almost exactly like Face, but like less serious. Cuz like for me, I used to never tell my friends anything.
It's true.
Anything. I was like such a closed book cuz I was like, you know what? You want to know what? They can use that against me, and that's some pretty embarrassing stuff. So I'm not going to sell it. And I didn't. I really didn't. And then I told it. And then sometimes it got used against me. What's the moral of the story? I don't know.
So, I feel like, are we too quick to judge people? Like, we have a fear that they're going to judge us for
I feel
our
like this
problems or
is
something.
I feel like this is also a very good tie-in at this point because it can split two ways for Saturday's discussion. Because we'll be talking about the other end, you know. I said this at the beginning, how to be a good friend and how to be a good listener and how to be there for someone. Helping the hurt. Credit to Mr. Siri on that title. But yeah, continue.
Okay, anyways. Are we too quick to judge people? Because we always have, like, the fear that they're going to judge us for our problems and what we're thinking about telling them. But are we, like... are we too quick to judge them as to be like, oh, they're like, automatically we're just be like, they're gonna treat me differently? Like, are we sure of that, or are we just creating this whole
I
thing
feel
in our
like
head?
because we've been hurt so many times before, and so many people, so many other people have just come into your life. I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody here, but I'm definitely speaking for me, that so many people have come into my life, earning my trust, gaining my trust over a period of time, and then I end up telling them the truth. I end up like spilling all of my troubles, all of my doubts, all of my mistakes, and then they end up using it, like turning against me and using it against me.
Bro, that's so scary. Dude, that sorry, that is one of my biggest fears.
Yes, ma'am.
You know why I'm nice to everybody? Because they could turn against me so easy. Seriously.
reason to be nice to
No,
everybody.
that's not the only reason, but like that's terrifying. Have you ever been close with anybody and then they like, for some reason you fall out? They have all that against you, and you probably have something against them, and that's like terrifying, dude.
Yeah.
That's terrifying, especially if they're like not that great of a person.
Nope.
So, question.
What's up?
Right. When you say that you've, like, trusted people, has there been stuff where you could obviously, like, they did something for you or you did something for them or something happened where you could just look at them and be like, yeah, I trust them? Or is it just because you knew them for a while? Because, like, I could say, like, I've known X person for a long time. Doesn't mean, like, I trust them with my life or something. Like, like, let's say I've known somebody for... How old am I? 15 years. I'm 16, but like, no, you know what I mean. 15 years, right? But I've only known Michael for 4 years. Like, I could have a closer relationship with him. Say like, I trust him more. But I knew the other person longer. Like,
It all, it really depends on like who it is. Like, I've had friends in the past where I've met like that year, and I feel closer to them than some of the friends that I've met at church or like whatever that I've known my entire life.
I feel that.
Yeah. But no, it's a struggle. It really, really is. And that's why when you meet new people, you're just like, wait, I've done this before. Let's not get hurt again. And you just kind of like take a step back and you're like, watch what you say around them, watch what you do, and just see their personality out. And then if you deem them as a good person, then
so I know it's kind of like a cliche thing to say, but like, what if praying about it?
yeah.
You know? Like
Well,
just
and there's-
just like
there's-
Not
there's
us
something-
being.
there's
Wait, no, no, like I'm not just
There's-
I'm not just like
well, and I'm
If-
I'm getting there.
okay.
Hold on, but I wanted to ask something more about these preconceptions in people's heads that we think that they have. You know, could we call them stigmas? I mean, I've already said that before, but I really do want to touch on that because it's something that
What?
Oh.
Oh, is there a person there?
She just popped her head out.
we have somebody peeking through our window at us and making faces at us.
Yeah. We
But
only wonder who can.
but I really do want to touch on stigmas because that's something that's affected me and like with opening up with people is because I've been so scared of what people think because I've heard all of these stories and so many people of this that and the other so can we think of some simple or maybe not simple but just some examples of like a situation and its stigma?
Wait. Repeat the question again.
Basically, is there any examples that you can think of off the top of your head of like a situation and a stigma? Like, will that they go together? So for me, it's like, like addict and crazy person,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, or addict and untrustworthy. Or addict and underhanded, stuff like that, or like, if someone has been sexually assaulted, then the stigma normally says that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, or they were doing something they shouldn't have, or, is there anything like that? I know I just said like 4 or 5.
I feel like, like liar and untrustworthy are two things that go together. Interchange them, whatever, but it's not always the case.
Explain to me, because I'm
Like,
a little confused.
say for instance, they're like, "Hey, I lied about something really, really big," but they did it to save a marriage. They did it to save someone's life. They did it to whatever. You never know the circumstance, and you just automatically deem that person as, oh, they're untrustworthy because they lied.
Or if they just like they're coming to you saying that like they messed up and like they
They're
lied
admitting
about
it,
this
yeah.
crazy thing, that doesn't automatically make them like untrustworthy for life.
Okay,
though.
so-
Like
Yeah, so when like a liar is coming clean per se, that we get this conception in our minds that they are forever untrustworthy, is basically what you're saying. Because to me, if somebody, how I interpret that when I first heard it was I heard somebody told some lie about me. Well, then obviously I'm going to think they're untrustworthy because they weren't spreading this rumor about something. But I see where you're coming from now, is somebody who's coming clean that they're automatically assumed to be forever untrustworthy. But that one is one I see a lot.
I feel like you kind of touched on it, but another one is like, if someone gets sexually assaulted, that they asked for it.
Mm.
They were dressed provocatively. They were having too many drinks. They were doing drugs.
Mm.
Whatever the circumstance.
And I feel like we've given some examples, unless there's any more that anybody can think of off the top of their head or that they've experienced.
like if you're broke, then you're irresponsible or something.
Mm.
Like I'm broke. Get a job.
It's not that
Get a
easy.
job. Or like homeless people. I know like this is not really like something that we can really relate to because none of us are homeless, hopefully.
None of us here are homeless.
Yeah, none of us here
You don't
are
know that.
homeless. But like a lot of people think that like if you're homeless, like every homeless person is like lazy or something. Like you can just get a job, which like is the case for some things, I'm sure. But like positively, assuredly, it's not for every case.
Like if a teenager in high school gets declined a job at McDonald's, then they're gonna say no to this homeless person who doesn't have any type of anything.
Yeah. So, I just feel like this is so plain and so simple, But at the same time, for me, just hearing somebody say this, it really did a lot for me. But are these stigmas true? Are they always true?
Not always true, no.
Most of the time, they're not.
But there are some that are.
Yes, there are some scenarios where, yes, they are true. But most of the time, if someone's coming to, like, ask you for help, or if someone's, like, admitting that they did wrong, then that's not the case. It's not the case.
I feel like okay, with anything that has like a stigma or a stereotype or like something whatever, like it's there for a reason, but it's like most definitely not gonna apply to everything. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of stigmas that are so unbelievably horrible. Like so unbelievably horrible. Like what I'm saying totally does not apply for like the sexual assault one, like that they were asking for it because like they wore provocative clothes or something, because like you can never ask for something like that. But something like liars being untrustworthy, like there's a stigma there for a reason, but that doesn't always mean that this like you should listen to the stigma. I'm not really sure like where exactly I'm trying to go with this, but do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I feel like in a lot of cases, I feel like in a lot of cases the stigmas aren't true, and some of them are just based off of a very surface level knowledge, and every story is different. You know, you're not going to find two drug addicts with the same story on how they got hooked and what it did to their life. You know, you're not going to find two victims of sexual assault with the exact same story. You're not going to find two homeless people, depressed people, anxious, whatever. You know, and so this is kind of more of a Sabbath topic. Be there, be square.
Yeah.
Be there, you can't be square.
It's gonna be
6
fun,
o'clock
guys.
Saturday
Square is
night.
not allowed.
And you can't be square, by the way.
It's not allowed.
It's not
but-
allowed. It's illegal.
But I feel like, you know, for me, after hearing these things, after hearing, you know, somebody tell me that these stigmas aren't true, you know, after people have been told that, and I know it's so easy to say stigmas aren't true, rather to an experience that stigmas aren't true and have somebody listen to you and accept you for who you are for that. But, you know, I feel like that's something everybody needs to hear. And at this point, for me, when I heard that, it was time that I made my decision to go to somebody for help. You know, and you've heard pretty much all of our thoughts on stigmas and how we treat them. So, you know, if you agree with our views or...
If you don't.
If you do or if you don't, but if you're struggling with something, you know where we stand on everything, and you know, not everything, but you know where we stand on dealing with issues, and I myself am open. But yeah, I can't speak for the rest of the team, but anyways.
If any of you who are watching this or happen to come across this video want or need help, I am definitely open to talk. Social media, if you have my number, whatever. I know probably Anna Rose would be willing to talk.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Siri would probably be willing to talk.
Yep. Definitely, he says.
A lot of people in the church are willing to talk. You just got to open up to us.
Yeah. So, and this is a... Go ahead.
So back to the stigma thing.
Oh my god.
I was trying to
We
say
were-
it, but then I got cut off. What was I going to say?
He doesn't even remember.
Oh, yeah. So that stigma thing.
Wait. Oh,
But
wait,
that stigma thing.
Mhm.
A lot of stigmas, I feel, were created by word of mouth. You know, they're like...
Period.
You know, what's it called?
Oh, snap.
Gossip, you know, like you heard
We're
this person do
professionals.
thing, obviously they're not trustworthy anymore, and then that just spreads on, and this
Mhm.
became like a giant like stigma
Yeah.
I'll just...
Period.
upon it. So like,
Yeah.
you know, we can't
Yeah.
always trust the stigma that's around
The
it.
stigma.
So,
Stigma.
stigmas are not always true.
Mhm.
And I kind of want to ask this as we wrap and close up, because we are running out of time, but who can we turn to?
Jesus.
Jesus.
Loved ones that we can trust.
Yeah, I would say, you know, God, obviously. I
Your
would be
pastors.
your God, your pastors, a trusted
Oh,
adult, a
teachers.
trusted friend.
Sorry. Oh, hold on. Let me take shots.
Okay.
So
I
picky.
think I think okay, I absolutely adore our pastors, and I'd say that they would be like a really good person to go to trust,
Very.
or like our teachers. But like
110%.
I do think that you shouldn't just like go down the list of like occupations and be like, hey, they're a teacher, they must be good, or like, hey, they're a pastor, they must be good.
Yeah, make sure
I
they're a
do
trusted
think,
adult.
yeah, it's like really important to like think about
Someone
the
that
person
you trust, not
you
that others
personally
trust.
Yeah, like really that you personally trust and that you personally feel like you would trust them with your problems, and you'd be comfortable telling them your problems. Because like if you're not comfortable, then like what's the point? Like if you're not able to like let it out freely, then like,
And
there's
don't
no
feel
point.
bad if like your friends are like, oh yeah, I trust this person, I trust this adult, he or she is trustworthy. If you don't feel comfortable talking with that person,
You don't have to.
Don't.
Yeah.
And as Anna said, don't just go based off of their status and like,
They're a
oh,
bad
this person's
therapist.
high. Obviously, yeah. Go to someone you trust, somebody that you
Yeah.
feel.
yeah.
Go to somebody that you trust. Go to somebody that you're like.
That's
you can-
literally what I just said.
If
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
think that you could sit down, like
Yeah.
okay, they said that
Okay.
they're open to talk, but like if you don't yeah,
If you don't trust us, you don't have to.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't
We're
have
not
to trust
forcing
us.
you into anything. It's not a cult.
We're just open to talk if you need help.
I mean, we just have open invitations.
Yeah.
But yeah, any closing thoughts, Trevor? No? Okay. And any closing thoughts in general? Also, hopefully I would like to put a pinned comment at the top of this video with a link to a website that has plenty of resources for people who are there to help, or, we'll try. Yeah, we're going to be handing out
Yeah.
resources Saturday
So
night
make sure
as
to
well.
come.
But I would just like to put a link with some hotlines you can call, like suicide prevention, self-harm prevention, sexual assault, domestic abuse, all of these different resources that you can go to if you don't have a trusted adult, because, I mean, these people's literal jobs are to, listen to people and stuff. And, we said don't go based off of occupation, but these things have been, these resources have been proven to be trustworthy. I've had the blessing of never needing to use one myself, but I know some people who have, and that have
It saved
said that
their
they
life.
are. Yeah.
It saved their life.
And when Michael says that they're there to listen, that's like true, because I heard this from somebody else. But when you call, they don't just like start talking, being like, "What's wrong with you?" or whatever. They sit there and listen.
Yeah.
They don't say
Yeah.
a word.
So
Seriously.
these are some great resources. We will get them to you one way or another. If you want to be sure that you
Yeah.
get them, come Saturday night. But we will try to get them on the YouTube page, pinned comment or something like that, description. Who knows? We won't just leave you high and dry if you are in need of something like this. But I think a very good takeaway from this is that you should seek help,
Mm.
and it's scary,
Very
but
scary.
it's help.
You can do it.
You got
can
it.
do it.
You got it. It's
Yeah.
your life gets so much better, so much easier. I'm speaking from experience here. And ultimately we do have a God that listens to us, and he went through every temptation we went through. He went through all of the pain we went through. He died for us, So if that's not love, then I don't know what is.
Amen.
And hey, listen, we're still the best podcast on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
we
make
are.
sure to come back.
Best believe.
Still, do not fact check that. We're your only source.
Not next Thursday, but the Thursday after
But
that.
yeah, every other
Thursday, and
So like the Thursday after next Thursday.
yeah.
I
And
just
this,
said
We're here.
This
Oh, I didn't hear you.
this
You never hear me.
this
I
lighthearted
always-
outro to the very heavy topic,
Yeah.
but
Don't want to leave you off with like
Yeah.
a somber note.
love you
but-
too. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.